The Brooklyn Nets' hot streak of late came to an end last night with an 8-point loss in Dallas. Did that loss save the tank? And is that a season changing moment? Hello, everyone, and welcome back into the Brooklyn Boys Show. As always, I am your host, Josh Wolver, getting ready to break down an exciting one last night in Dallas between the Nets and the Mavericks. On your way into the building, smash that like button, hit subscribe. We have hit the 500 sub threshold. Now we're shooting for the stars. We're going for 1,000. We're going for 4 digits, and that all happens when you guys hit like. You guys hit subscribe. It is number one, the best way to support our channel. Costs you nothing. And number two, pumps out our content to other people throughout the YouTube and Nets community so we can continue to grow and expand. Thank you for tuning in. You want to get involved on the conversation, head over to the comment section, get questions, comments, thoughts, all those in there, reactions to yesterday's game. Jonathan wins today's early bird trophy. We'll get to every single one of your questions, comments, thoughts in just a couple of minutes. We'll react to what Jordi Fernandez said about Yegor Gelman's minutes coming up and about if his poor play continues, will that result in a playing time punishment? We'll talk about a monster day for Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg, as well as Michael Porter Jr., who, let me set the record straight, is not a trade priest. You're listening to the Brooklyn Boys Show live, streaming to you on YouTube. Saturday, December 13th is your date. We're coming to you one day after Nets Mavs. It was a week off for Brooklyn, 6 days without a game before the Nets finally went into Dallas, but just could not keep the momentum riding from their previous 4 games where they went 3-4, or rather, they won 3 out of 4. So you're coming in as hot as you can in terms of this season so far for Brooklyn, one that has been riddled with losing streaks, blowout losses, embarrassing losses, and injuries at points. The Nets were coming into this game an extremely hot basketball team. So it was a little bit surprising to people throughout the Nets community. I would say polarizing is probably the better word because people didn't know what to do. They were in a state of upheaval where they couldn't figure out if this team was committed to the tank because it didn't look like they were. They couldn't figure out if this team was actually going to make some noise because they were playing the worst of the worst in terms of NBA level competition. But our answers began to unravel and clear up the fog a little bit when the Nets lost last night in Dallas. But look, let me start by saying this. As a tanking team that needs a good pick in 2026, because you don't have your pick in 2027, and you might want to compete 2 years down the line, you have one more chance at a franchise-changing player. And that is in this year's upcoming draft. That is starting with this year's draft lottery. So knowing that this is your year to go all in to get the score of the future for your franchise, it would not have been okay for this team to lose direction, to start sailing off into the win columns, think everything's fine and dandy, and then come away with the 10th pick because this team wanted to win games that they just could not afford to. So, yeah, the Nets will beat bad teams. We know that. But you hope, at least if you're tanking, that this team doesn't ruin it by then going ahead and beating some mediocre teams like this year's Dallas Mavericks. However, with that being said, playing hard until the end doesn't affect your draft odds. It doesn't add anything to the win column. It doesn't worsen your odds at that number one pick. Playing good team basketball for 4 quarters and coming out with a lot of positives, while albeit multiple negatives that we'll get into, including the 8th pick in the draft, Yegor Gelman, who feels like has hit his first real hiccup of his NBA career. Albeit a lot of negatives, you take away that many positives from a game, and you play that well, not only do the Nets improve their odds at the number 1 pick, it's a slow race. It's an 82-game race for the odds. But not only do the Nets significantly improve their odds by losing games against mediocre teams, when you take away positives from it, it almost feels like a win-win. It almost feels like, at the end of the day, this team didn't lose. Because in 2025, counting Nets wins and losses by what the record tells you is not going to bring you anywhere. It's not. You're not going to figure out what the future of this franchise is. You're not going to figure out how to assess this coaching staff if you just look at wins versus losses. Let's check the record. Oh, their winning percentage is 150, so they must be terrible. Why would you quantify wins and losses for such a terrible team by what your record tells you? You shouldn't. Doesn't make any sense. So you go into Dallas, you play a hell of a 3 quarters, you lose track of some stuff, you have trouble down the stretch in that 4th quarter. Played sloppy at the end. But there were a lot of wins. So it makes total sense to say, as a Nets fan, you were A, glad that the pick odds got better, but B, we're still able to take away positives, because there have been games this season where you just cannot take away positives. Philly, Nets haven't played Philly once this year, which was competitive. That first Knicks game, can't take away anything from that. So this team needs to figure out that the positives can get derived from games where you don't go home with a win in the win column. And I think that's what's so important about playing hard until the end. That's where you really get development for the young guys. It's not just about moral victories, oh, we kept it close. But teach the young guys something. These are literal kids. Nolan Traore is 19 years old. He doesn't know how to close out an NBA game yet. And look, he hasn't gotten his chance to. But he's certainly not going to get his chance to if the Nets can't stay competitive. And that just leads to a losing culture, even when you do bring in the pieces to be able to have a solid basketball team. Smash the like button, hit subscribe if you're tuned in with us live. Get questions, comments, thoughts. Throw all of those in the chat. Great to see all of you guys there. Like Jason, who tells us MPJ should legitimately be an all-star this season. He is certainly putting up the numbers to earn himself into that role. 4th straight game of 30-plus points. He is in fuego. And by the way, if you thought he was a trade piece heading into last night, I urge you to go watch what he just put out on the floor. And it's not just last night. That's the great thing. It is not just last night, my friends. Michael Porter Jr. has been doing it all along. And yeah, you can put some of it as the Cam Thomas injury, which freed up a spot for him to take over as the number 1 scorer. But that doesn't mean 26 points, 7.5 rebounds a game is some sort of joke. 34, 33, 34, 36. December is MPJ's month, baby. Put that man in an all-star uniform. I'm tired of hearing that, oh, he hasn't made a team yet. This is going to be the year. This is the year. This is the year. Michael Porter Jr. is not a trade piece. And at a certain point, we have to say that 2 first-round picks and a young talent isn't going to do it. for MPJ on the trade block. And plus, you'd have to figure out the cap issues with MPJ. You would have to figure out how to get $40 million back under contract, especially if he's dealt at the deadline, or else you're going to be under the minimum and you're going to face punishment from the league. So you're going to have to figure out how to juggle salaries if you want to trade him, but you're also going to have to give up the best scorer this team has seen since Kevin Durant. Before that, it has been a while. It has been a while. And MPJ is showing out right now. Love it, Nets world. You got to love it. You have to love it. Cam Thomas might not never play another game in a Nets uniform. He might not. This is the Cam Thomas replacement. For the Cam Thomas truthers out there, I am sorry. Your time has come. Retire it. We will hold some sort of Nets World moment of silence tribute for Cam Thomas, because his NBA career is going in the gutter right now. But how could you view MPJ as a trade piece at this point after all he's done? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, continue to keep questions, comments, thoughts flowing. That's most important. Second most important. Free and easy way to support what we do. Like and subscribe continues to help us find a bigger, better, brighter audience. And also, help us out. Instagram, _Brooklyn Boys live. Pre, post, halftime coverage. All latest news from Nets World. It is in season time, baby. And that means we are posting there almost every game day. So get over there. Give us a follow. It is much appreciated. Let's get into, though, the main bulk of today's video. And that is what happened with Yegor Gilman during the game and what Jordi Fernandez said afterwards. Was it precedented? Was it not? Let's start up here. 3 points on 1 of 7 shooting, 104 from downtown, was Yegor Gilman's stat line in 18 minutes. And that's pretty bad. And 1 assist, that's pretty bad. So I don't blame Jordi Fernandez for calling him out after the game. I don't. You have to hold your players to a standard. That standard cannot be shot chucking and scoring 3 points. That is not a standard, at least not to me. I don't know what happens in the Nets locker room. Clearly, I'm not in on the decision making. That is just not a standard to me. So I think Fernandez did the right thing in calling him out and saying, hey, I'm going to address this at the point of attack so it doesn't get worse. But that's not how you play team basketball. And that's just not how this team is going to roll if you want to be part of a winning team, a winning culture, a winning future. So I get that he wants to hold him to the highest of standards. But at the same time, how do rookies develop? It is not by getting disciplined for their inexperience. That's not how it happens. And you can afford for that to happen on a winning team. If you get drafted to the Warriors and you're not playing well, don't expect to be in the starting 5. If you get drafted to the Thunder, you're a rookie, you're not playing well, good news. They don't need you anyways. Go sit in the background. Go warm up the bench for SGA. But that's not the case in Brooklyn. So to put Yegor's minutes in jeopardy, according to Jordy on the postgame, is stripping him of his ability to develop. The guy hadn't played a game in 6 days. Why is there no leeway? Can we base this on not just one performance? Please. Please. He's a rookie. He is 19-year-old rookie. Can we not base this off of one game? If it continues, sure. Here's a bad 5-game stretch, sure. Take him out of the lineup. Don't see him. Tell him he needs to work on it in practice before getting back out there. But to be honest, I don't think we can call it the right move when you have a guy that is going to be the future at the point guard spot for the Nets. And it has been a rough stretch for him. He hasn't really played well since he went nuclear against Philly. And that was, let's see, Friday, November 28th. So I think it does have to get better, but I don't think that happens by shielding him off from the outside and keeping him on the bench the whole time. Smash the like button, hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet. We'll continue to talk all things Nets here on the post-game show. Get into your questions, comments, thoughts in just a couple of minutes. Wanted to touch on this real quick before we go into the chat. Just a monster day for Anthony Davis. 24 points and 14 rebounds. I told you on the pregame show, he was going to have a monster day against Claxton. And Claxton snags another double-double. Good for him. He's been putting up some real solid numbers. But, oh boy. Oh boy. That is what happens when Nick Claxton gets thrown up against a best of the best big man. And I think what we've learned is Claxton can certainly hold his own against the league average. But you get an Anthony Davis in there. You get a Giannis in there. You get a Jokic in there. Night. His high-quality defense, gutters. Anthony Davis, man, if he could stay healthy. I feel for Mavs fans. I really do. The Luka trade. AD can't stay healthy. Kyrie can't stay healthy. You gotta feel for Mavs fans. Cooper Flag, though, right there with Davis. 22 on 10 of 16 from the field. Who saw that disgusting throwdown? And he almost jacked another one. There was like 3 nets under the rim. He cocked it back for a tomahawk and just back rimmed it. But he almost, as Ryan Rucco said, he almost put the whole Burrow on a poster. He played really well, though. 80 and Flag. Don't let them fool you. They got a future down there in Dallas. They really do. Health is going to continue to get in their way. Hopefully not for long, though, because they have a talented group down there. They really do. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. Let's get into all your questions, comments, thoughts, reactions. Starting from the top, working our way down. Want to get in on the conversation? Easy as 1, 2, 3. Hop over to the chat. We will get you in. Even though Danny Wolf is on a great rise, Jordy is still backtracking some of his rookies like Yegor, Nolan, and Powell only played 2 minutes. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, Wolf went exploding, and then Powell and Traore, I see where they're at with Traore, that they need to give it time. Powell should be a green light go for me, right? Like, I get that the Mavs, that's the thing about the Mavs. The Mavs don't really have a ton of outside scoring if you're not just one of the two. Thompson, yeah, he was all right, but they don't really have that much efficient scoring coming off the bench. So I thought the Nets would be able to take advantage of that, but I guess they weren't. By the way, excuse me if my voice sounds a little bit raspy. Didn't get a great night's sleep last night, so that might be contributing. Jonathan, it's beyond frustrating to see Jordy Fernandez adopted stepsons, Man and Martin, get so much minutes, yet rookies get criticized. But those vets never get criticized by Jordy for dragging. I agree. I'm tired of the Man and Martin narrative. It's so annoying. And it's like, okay, you're gonna sit Yegor. Can we sit Tyrese Martin, please? Can we sit Tyrese Martin, please? Please. Somebody figure it out for me. Because last time I checked, earning your way onto the roster with a good camp didn't mean you're guaranteed to play every night. Is it some part of his contract that wasn't released to the public? Because I really don't know what's happening. It is insane. It's crazy. The Martin stuff. It's unbearable too, like to watch. You go to a game and Tyrese Martin's laying a goose egg. They call timeout and you're like, okay, this has to be to take out Martin. And then he comes back out on the floor like we forgot everything that just happened. The last 10 minutes of him being out there. Not being able to execute. But more importantly, it just does not look like he cares. It doesn't. He either doesn't care or he's just straight up terrible. Somebody let me know. The trade deadline could not have come soon enough for the Nets, whom an extra $15 million to use to collect more assets, and hopefully Man, Martin, Wilson, and Haywood will be moved. That's the thing, though. Who wants Man, Martin, Wilson, and Haywood? I'd be fine with them. Please take them. Maybe even take them for free. But I can't imagine suitors for these guys. Who is a suitor for Tyrese Martin? Who is a suitor? Maybe Terrence Mann, I understand it. He's a vet. Maybe the Clippers want him back. Who is a Haywood Highsmith suitor? I got nobody. I don't got anybody. I just wish this team kept Kobe Buffkin, man. That's what's so, that's so irritating to me that they wanted Tyrese Martin over Kobe Buffkin. Figure it out. Get your priorities in order, people. Get your priorities in order. Couple more here before we go. Not feeling 100% today, so show will be on the shorter side, but had to get a couple in. Nets play, by the way, before we get to this, Nets play tomorrow at home against Milwaukee, against the Bucks. And, man, if you think that it was bad against Cooper Flagg and Anthony Davis, just wait for Giannis. Just wait for Giannis. The Greek Freak will step into Barclays and embarrass everybody who lays their eyes on that game. One silver lining was last time the Nets played the Bucks in Milwaukee, the beginning of the Danny Wolf legacy, which has, honestly continued in what has been the shockingest of turnings of events. And this is what I talked about, taking away positives from a game you didn't win. Danny Wolf continues to be insane. Insane. He comes out of nowhere. The last pick of the Nets 5 has been the best pick seemingly so far. And who would have thought? It gets crazier every day, doesn't it? Who would have thought Sean Marks would nail his last pick in the draft? The one that seemed like a reach even at the time. With Clax had career highs with assists and free throws, but defensively still undersized center. Danny Wolf is on the rise and doing things Clax has never done. Yeah, but Danny Wolf's not ready to play center. That's all. What you said is true, but there's no way Wolf slots in at the 5. Danny Wolf cannot operate as the only big man on the floor. It's just the way he plays the game, it just wouldn't mesh well. Because he ball handles for this team a majority of the time, and then he's like relocating to the outside to hit a wing 3. Sidestep, wing 3, buckets for Danny. But if he misses, Ben Saraf's not grabbing the rebound for him. Nolan Traore is not going to get down there and crash the glass. So these are, it's just not a scenario where you could see Clax's role get taken over by Wolf, because Wolf can't self-support himself as the sole big man on the floor. So it's just not going to happen. Speaking of Cam, Jordy's latest comments seem to cement he sees the writing on the wall, and Cam could be moved any day starting Monday. Do the Clippers make a potential move for him? I think the Clippers are honestly a good fit right now, Jonathan. Let me let you in on this for the Clippers. They get desperate really fast. Like, Steve Ballmer wants to win. And Harden's not working, and Kawhi's not working, and Paul George didn't work. And you had Norman Powell, who has now moved on and has become an A-plus player for the Heat. And I'm sure the Clippers are already biting their tongue about that. And I think the Clippers get so desperate that they think Cam Thomas can solve their problems. So yes, I think the Clippers are a very, very strong suitor for CT. And honestly, I don't think it's going to take much to get Cam Thomas off of the Nets. Like, I think Sean Marks is going to be willing to let go of him. And it's going to be tough to see if Cam Thomas waives his no trade clause for LA, because they have Harden. So I just don't think he's going to get what he wants in LA. But then again, he can't stay healthy in Brooklyn. They have no incentive to play him at all. Jordy could easily just bench him the whole time. He could get Jalen Wilson, Tyson Etienne minutes. I don't think that's what he wants. So, yeah. Look out for the Cam Thomas trade talk. That'll continue to ramp up as the trade window continues to grow. Hey, subscribe to the channel. We got a couple huge guests coming on in the next couple of weeks. Connor and I doing some very, very big things behind the scenes. If you saw my tweet blow up on Twitter a couple days ago, you know that we had some big-time sports media members respond on that front. So we are getting a big-name guest coming on the show that shall be named later, sometime this upcoming week. Like, subscribe, so you stay in the loop. Couple more here before we go. When Claxton acts like a point guard out of control, it pisses me off. Say it loud, say it proud, Jason. It pisses us both off. He'll get the ball at the top of the key, start euroing past dudes, and think he's all of a sudden Jokic. Think he's all of a sudden Victor Wembanyama. Like, this is why I say know your role. Please, know your role. You're not Danny Wolf. You're not a 7-footer who handles the ball. Stop trying to be him. Sorry if you're unsure what your role looks like on this team. Play into a better one. It does piss me off too. Ryan's Big Blue Podcast in the house. Ryan, how you doing? MPJ looks real good for you guys. Yes, sir, he does. He looks like he might be the future of Brooklyn. By the way, if you're a Giants fan, hit Ryan's channel. He does some great work over there. Dodgers 5 aces, Jets X Nets. Poor kid. Yeah, I mean, we don't even need to talk about the Jets, do we? Like, another year with this third-string quarterback stuff. They're starting an undrafted rookie, Brady Cook, tomorrow. His backup is Adrian Martinez. We do this every year, man. It's draft talk season before the calendar flips to November every single year. So, as a Dodgers fan, I'm sure you're pretty spoiled. I'm a Yankee fan, but look, they haven't been good in my lifetime. So, at least not to Yankee standards, good. Maybe if you're a Mets fan, the Yankees have been good. But to Yankee standards, they haven't been good in my lifetime. So, I haven't really seen winning. The Yankees had a good run last year, but obviously the goal for them is to bring home a World Series. So, that, of course, didn't happen. All right. I'm Josh Wooliver getting ready to wrap this thing up. If you're wondering, Knicks are up 7 in the NBA Cup semifinals in Orlando. 102-95 with 9:50 to play in the fourth. So that's where that game's at. I was having this debate on the show earlier. If the Knicks win, guys in the chat, do you think that they should hang a banner in MSG if they win the in-season tournament? I said no. I think it's really, really cringy. But, like, they haven't won a title since the 70s, so it's getting a little dry up there. I think they probably would as a flex just because they want to fill out the rafters a little bit more, but I don't know. Let me know. I don't think they should. Like, Patrick Ewing, 2025 in season tournament champions. I mean, that's going to be embarrassing. No, they shouldn't. Definitely not. I'd be embarrassed as a Knicks fan. All right. Glad we're all in agreement on that. Maybe if the Nets do, because the Nets have banners for Eastern Conference championships in 02 and 03 when they got swept in the finals and lost in 5 to the Spurs the year after. So those are the most recent banners in Barclays. And they don't have a title since the ABA 70s. So if the Nets won it, and they don't really have like the class and prestige that the Knicks think they do. I mean, honestly, the Knicks don't, but they think they do. So they probably won't, but I think the Nets would. I think the Nets definitely would. But we have a long way to go before we talk about this team winning anything. All right. That'll do it for me. Great show. Thank you guys. Saturday, December 13th is your date. I'm Josh Wooliver for the Brooklyn Boys Show. Signing off saying, have a great night, everybody. Stay safe. Nets lose, and maybe it's for the much better in the long run. Have a great night, everybody. As always, let's go Nets. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Peace out, folks. See ya.